At the family reunion, I'm holding my leg precariously to solicit sponsorship from Nike. Hi, Nike. I'm wearing your shoes. Hey, everybody. For those of you who are listening and not watching, I just delicately held up my left leg because I love to show a little leg and a little shoe and a little logo here on the Unsettled show. You should definitely get on YouTube if you want to see it. YouTube.com/Joy Ofodu. Search for Dating Unsettled. Today we're talking about family reunions. We are talking about the fact that when you consider dating somebody, it's not just them, but their family. This is a topic that is actually very near and dear to me because I have a family, and so do you, probably, maybe, I hope. If you don't and you're listening to this, it must be really interesting. Like, imagine not having literally any family and just being like, what are they on? That's crazy. If you have no family, comment below. All right, so to me, families are like a very important part of the relationship, and you will meet people, especially, I don't know why this is a male thing. I'm gonna gender war it here. You'll meet a lot of guys who say like, oh, family matters so much. It's family over everything. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm all about my mom. Oh, Philippians 4:13. But like, you really have to interrogate them to understand what they mean when they say that they value family. Family values is not just like some sort of like, I don't know, we're not operating with the same operational definition of what family values are. Oh yeah, family matters to me. Okay, how do you show up for them? What does that mean? So I have like a bunch of questions. I think they're great. I wrote them, so it's kind of like airheaded to say great questions, but I think I have genuinely good questions to help you understand and interrogate somebody you're dating, the person that you're dating, their relationship with their family. Does that make sense? Am I speaking the right words to you? Sweet, sweet nothings into your ear on this fine evening, afternoon, morning, weekend, or commute. Aw, no, we're not. But we can be if you want. Okay, that just activated my anxious attachment style. Let's start asking the questions. Should we ask the question? Yes. We have some nervous laughs. Thank you for those. Okay, let's start asking these great questions. I think the first one is, how does power work in your family? Which is so crazy, but like, we come from matriarchal and patriarchal societies. So some people might talk to you, they're like, oh yeah, my mama did everything. She was a person over the house. She raised us by herself. She made the decisions. Some people come from more patriarchal societies, especially here in the US. Oh, my dad's word was final. And I think understanding how that works will help you because, as we talk about in a therapy-related episode of Dating Unsettled, where you may or may not have heard it, it is really important to understand what your family history is because it's going to impact your dating life. How this person saw a man operating in a home, how they saw women being active or live in a home is going to impact like how they want to show up. And then I think, who do you look up to within your family? Because they might have family members that are older or further along in careers, but they may not necessarily look up to them. And you might find them say, oh, I look up to my little sister, which is like, oh, that's intriguing. Tell me more. And these are better questions than like, so do you have any brothers or sisters? Like, let's go beyond the basic here. Asking them, where did they grow up? And when they grew up, who was in the house? Because people's families, again, are just not as like black and white as we think. And people can grow up apart from their siblings. I have so many good friends, even my partner, who like have older siblings, and that has like impacted their family structure. Did you have a 2-parent household? Did you have a 1-parent household? Like, how did that work? Was religion and church going important to you? And do you keep up now? It's so crazy because when you're on a dating app and you see that like kind of like religion tab, it's not very explanatory. There's like spiritual, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, but there's nothing to really say what their religiosity is or like what those church going habits are. And this is a place that I didn't think it was important to have compatibility, but I've seen and like had responses of relationships absolutely falling apart when that's not the case. So I love asking that question. This is a juicy one, might cause the girls to tussle. Do you need your family's approval? Do you need your family's approval to date? Do you need them to approve of like how you are and who you are overall? Do you need their approval on large financial decisions? Because if you're considering, like me, dating to marry, you're talking about later someday in the future, combining households, combining finances, You want to understand who all of the stakeholders are. And for some people, family members are people that they notify. For others, they literally, I don't, spend anything over 10,000 without talking to my mom or my dad first. So just understanding like what privacy or boundaries you have within your relationship and that person has with their own affairs times their family can be very intriguing. Do they or you like to visit? So if they live apart, can they visit? If they live apart from their family, how important is it for them to actually see and spend space and time with them? Like getting immersed with their family for someone like my boyfriend, like I can see the direct effect that it has on him. Like when they're around, he's almost like a different person, like he takes on a different kind of role as complemented by his older sister or his older brothers or his little sister. And it's just like kind of like a darling and intriguing side of him to see. He's also very like childlike, like messing around with his brothers. And that to me is like unique. I really like it, because he's like a younger one. For me, when I'm around my sisters, I think you'll notice because I was like an eldest sister, like eldest daughter type energy, I take on a lot of responsibility. And I can be very maybe like dogmatic or like, okay, this is what we're doing, organized, because I was parentalized from a very young age. So that parentalization and that need to like be on guard and have things like under control can also impact how I show up in my relationship because I was eldest daughter and am eldest sister for so long that it's like hard to turn off. Dating middle siblings, God bless you. I have a middle sibling. She's going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, good luck, y'all. If you are a middle sibling and you take offense to this, comment. Let's fight. Let's turn the engagement up, right? Okay, good. I love asking how often and in what ways do you communicate with your family and how much time do you spend on the phone with them? Okay, so this is nuts. I have said that, like, I think if somebody calls their mama every day, to me, like, that's fine. And like, I've heard people say, oh, I speak to my mom on the phone every day. It's very sweet. Like, we love and treasure and honor our family members. We don't know how long we have them here with us. It's like every day I get. But if someone spends like literally hours of their day on their phone with their mom, Yvonne and I have had this debate, and he doesn't do this, but he's like, that wouldn't be a problem. Like, as long as those hours are outside of like what we spend together, I don't care. I don't know. I can't do the like calls their parent for everything, every issue kind of relationship, or just in general, being on the phone for hours at a time, leisurely with a family member. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like something about it icks me. Something about it feels like codependent. Am I wrong? Am I being like paranoid? Again, like I haven't directly experienced this, but I might have like immigrant household trauma of like my parents, they definitely grew up away from their parents and away from a lot of their brothers and sisters. So I'm just so familiar with like hours upon hours of household time being taken up from like WhatsApp speakerphone phone calls. And I think I'm really tired. I love seeing people. And even if I haven't heard from them in 6 months, 1 year, doing that rich catch up in person, especially with my sisters, but like to spend hours on the phone regularly. I'm not talking about the odd call. I don't know. It's a little icky to me. Let me know what y'all think. I want to know what they expect out of a woman or a man or a partner, whomever. For me, my role as a woman, I think, changes, again, when I'm a daughter, when I'm an older sister, when I'm with my partner, and then someday, future, I'm a girlfriend right now. Someday I'll be a fiance, hopefully a wife. I'll do it. Someday soon those things are coming. And I want to know, before we get there, how do women play a role in your family? Right? Like, are their opinions valued? It's crazy to have to ask these things, but especially when you come from a West African culture, like it's so vital to me to know that as a woman, I'm still valued, seen, heard, and I'm seen as a partner, not just as like a helpmeet or somebody who they can optionally consult. There are things that are going to be, and I'm slowly learning this as I mature in my relationship, a man's business or just like Yvonne's deal, that have like nothing to do with me. But there are also things to where if we're making like a joint decision on anything, I don't ever want my gender to be the reason why my opinion matters less. And again, these things feel so fundamental to say, but I've found and I've seen, especially again, like in Igbo cultures too, like there's ways that just a man's opinion is valued more because he is a man. And it'll never be so infuriating as to when it actually happens, like as to when you experience that moment of devaluation because you are a girl child and not a boy child, right? Or a woman and not a man. So I don't know. That's something that's like a sneaking kind of fear that I have, especially as someone who hopes to partner with a man in a patriarchal society. Am I going to be valued as your wife? Am I an accessory to everything you do? Or does my career also matter? You know, do my pursuits and my intents and my space and my peace, like, can we value these just as much as society values yours? They are making laws about my body and none about yours. Can we make sure that we are prioritizing raising a family in a space where I feel safe and protected? So that's like very top of mind for me and literally a deal breaker when it comes to partnership. In your culture, what is disrespectful? And I talked about this on another episode, but like yawning is really disrespectful in Cameroonian cultures that I found out. There's also like in some cultures, like ways of positioning your body. Crossing your legs might be disrespectful somewhere. Showing the bottom of your Nike shoes from, Nike might be disrespectful in some cultures. So making sure that when you appear in that physical space, you're showing them respect, but you can't know what to show until you know what's respectful and disrespectful. Do you trust your family? Families can get crazy. And like, I trust my family. I tell them a lot of intimate things that happen with me, whether that's like, not the details of, but just that I am in a relationship, job changes, gig changes. Like, oh yeah, the contract was this, but now it's this, I am very, very open and communicative with my family where I go, where I travel, where I'm on vacation, what I'm hoping for, what I'm disappointed, what I'm frustrated by. And I realized that, like, again, family is not this shared operational definition where people just feel like because they're family, I can trust them. I really learned through dating the different relationships that men like have with their families, and like trust is sometimes for them earned and not a given just because they're family. So that's something that I think is worth looking into. How active do you want me to be with your family is vital. It is Nick vital. It is vital water vital, because they might say like, look, I don't even care if you meet them or not. And then you're sitting here offended because he hasn't introduced you to his family, but his family is not somebody he looks to, like for approval or to continue with what's going on in his life. Then when can I meet them? And like, I don't think that there is like a wrong time to meet family. I introduced Yvonne to my family 1 month into us dating. And that was just because we were distant. He was coming over for the first time after we'd agreed to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I was like, yeah, our first date is going to be going to my house and we're going to cook for my family. And it was a crazy first boyfriend and girlfriend date because it threw him into meeting my mom, my dad, and one of my sisters. But it also felt just right because I knew it was going to endure. I knew our relationship was for a long time. And I thought, especially with like distance, pandemic kind of era, there was no need to delay what was going to be inevitable. To me, a partner is valid and worthy of meeting my family, people who literally shaped me and built me, as soon as I meet him. It doesn't take a lot, kind of from me. As soon as I meet him and I decide that he's who I want to partner with, you can meet my family. I don't like kind of building up a reward system that they have to earn to. But let me know what y'all think about that. I think understanding, especially for long distance, what holiday plans you have is so important, because you do not want to build up false expectations of having like a white Christmas and getting to spend, or a black Christmas, getting to spend holiday time with your partner and they're already committed to their family. Like, huge shock. Is there anyone who's like family to you? This is intriguing because there's so many aunties, uncles, coaches, mentors who might have impacted their life who are not exactly parents, but have had just as much, if not more, influence on who the person you're dating is. And meeting and learning those people, like I have people who are like family that I grew up with, in the East Bay, and Yvonne and I have like been out to like their career and we like follow their moves and just the side of their job and stuff. And it's like, those people to me, they're not blood, but they might as well be. And they hold so many of my memories. So I think it's really special when families can be chosen and not just by blood. Is anyone sick in your family is important, because you won't even realize the way that you speak about health or health outcomes or glad I don't have this or whatever the comment might be. And there's like someone in their family who's struggling with that. It's also cool to understand like family history, so that this is getting just very type A, girl. Y'all know me. But like, if someday you are hoping to build a family together, how any of their health outcomes like might impact the family that you're building. Okay, the last question I think I would ask is like, how far back does your family go that you can trace? I think there's a lot of loss, especially in the like Black and African American community, of our history. But to get to know cultures and traditions and like where they're from is the asking and preserving is like the only way that we're going to endure. I know that's like very hotep of me, but like, please, it's important for us to hold on to these things. I think families can be complicated, but low key, like you're dating them too. And when you better understand a person's family and actually take genuine time to understand what's going on with them, you get closer to them. So I hope that those questions help. In the next part of the episode, if you are watching again on YouTube, we got these questions. If you're listening, hey, we're going to go through some questions that come either from Unsettlers or from the internet. These are questions, scenarios, and situations from different lovers that just help us explore the topic of family in a gentle, non-abrasive, and non-provoking way. Okay, so we're ready. What if I broke off my engagement because my future in-laws want me to sit down with them and go over a criminal background check that they ran on me? Like I said, light, gentle, fluffy stuff. You ready for this one? Okay. My fiance and I both live in the Western U.S. We met in our senior year of college and have been dating for the last few years. We are very much in love. Our relationship has been incredible. She is unlike any person that I've met before. I proposed to her shortly before Christmas last year, and she immediately accepted. Oh, that's nice. Was it like, will you? Yes. Like that immediately, or like a little less immediate? We haven't been able to plan the wedding yet due to finances, but that hasn't been a concern for either of us. I met my fiance's parents a few times before proposing, and they seemed like very nice people. Why do I have a feeling this is about to change? They were polite, had a clean home, and overall, I did not see any red flags. We both took my parents and hers out to lunch last weekend, and we told them the big news. Everyone seemed excited about it, and it was a wonderful time. Today I go to work and I get a call from my fiance's mother. She told me before I was going to marry her daughter, she and her husband were going to run a criminal background check on me and to ask what afternoon I have free so that we could sit and talk together about the results. Can I just say, this mother-in-law is badass. I like how she asked. She didn't ask, she told. She said, what afternoon do you have free? Because you know how people would be like, are you free? And you'd be like, for what? And then you get to answer and then like you go back and forth. She said, no, let me know when you're free for us to review your criminal background check. That is wild. Would y'all sit down to this before I finish this story? Would you sit down? Let me see in the room. Would you sit down to this? Let me know when you're free because before you marry my son, we're going to go through a criminal background check. Like, would you? We got some shrug. Would you sit down to this? We got a hard no in the room. Would you sit down to this? We're getting hard no's. Y'all, I don't know. On set, we're feeling iffy about it. I think I would go for the plot. I'm not going to lie. I want to see what you turned up. Did you get the time that I took did some, there might be a Scholastic Book Fair bookmark in there that wasn't accounted for. How do I still get to marry your son? Like, what are we doing? I don't know. That's exciting. Okay. Definitely pirated some movies. Sorry about that. I love the film industry and I actively participate as a member of the union. Okay. We're going to read this one. So they're going to run the background check. This was not a request. I find this incredibly creepy. I have never had a criminal history beyond a few traffic tickets. But this sounds humiliating and a gross violation of my privacy. I have not talked to my fiance about this, but even if she does back me on this, I don't know what this says about their pattern of behavior in the future. Is this as creepy as a red flag as I think, or should I accept it at face value? Criminality is interesting. I think you're right to feel like offended that this is like a prerequisite and that it wasn't a request, because it's so funny, especially in communication, how much better people receive things when you open it up to them as a request. Hey, would you mind? Hey, for our peace of mind. Or you explain to them, I've found like this is like a scientific fact about negotiations. Someone is much more likely to concede to your request if you explain why you want the thing that you're asking for. So, hey, can you help me tie my shoe because I can't do it by myself, is going to be more effective than, hey, dude, can you help me tie my shoe? Right? Especially if you were like talking to a stranger. Hey, would you mind if we reviewed a criminal background check, or if we even ran one on you because we're nervous about our daughter's safety and we just want to ensure she's in good hands? Like, that lands so differently. I do think it's completely unnecessary, very messy, and you should make sure that your future in-laws are not on a reality TV show, that they need you to be there at the time that they review it. That to me is wild. Obviously, there's a lot of information online. So whether it's ethical or unethical, there's a lot that you can find out about someone. You can run a background check on almost anyone here in the United States. To do so independent of somebody's knowledge, in some ways almost feels more respectful than asking or forcing, not even telling them that they need to sit down with you and review the results. I'm not sure that I feel crazy about these in-laws. Again, on set, even the vibes are off. Like, this is iffy and yes, somewhat creepy request. Parents are important, but they are not living the relationship. And I think that's something I had to sit with myself, is like, I trust and respect my parents, but especially even in the intro of the show, I say, like, I'm not dating the way you would. I'm not dating the way my mama would. The way that she goes about relationships isn't the way that I need to go about relationships. The way my dad chooses to proceed or how my uncle thinks to move is not how I'm going to move. I respect you and I can take those things into building my own worldview. But especially for this, like, future wife in this situation, like, I don't need to abide by, or we don't need to move by what my parents say. We are adults. We're not in high school anymore asking for permission to go to the diner on Saturday. Like, we have our own autonomy. So diner, what is it, 1950s? Are you all right? So yeah, I think this is a rough go. And somebody said I should speak to my partner before I make decisions. So the person said, I came home, I talked to her, I asked her if she knew anything about this. She said she did not. She was very confused as to why her parents would do this. I have not sent any kind of reply to her mom. According to her, this is very out of left field. Y'all, good luck to that situation. That one is rough. Okay, we're going to read just one more. Am I a jerk for not wanting to hang out with my boyfriend's parents? I'm 23 female. I've been with my boyfriend 25 male for a little over 2 years now. I met his parents and they're genuinely nice people. They love him and his siblings and they all get along well. Too well. His mom is in the mental health field. It makes me super uncomfortable. I come from a broken home and I've been in therapy all my life. I know his family's normal, but it makes me feel super weird. I feel like his mom always asks probing questions, and I don't want to give her the wrong answer. And then she tries the mental health worker stuff on me because I'm dating her son. I explained to my boyfriend that I don't mind seeing his parents, but I do not want to go to weekly dinners at his house because it makes me uncomfortable for my own reasons. I love him to death, and our relationship is healthy, but this seems to really bother him. So am I a jerk? No, I mean, I think it's just about setting boundaries. Like, there's a way that sometimes you can take your work home with you, especially when it's something like mental health, because it applies to literally everything, that maybe the mom doesn't even realize she's doing to you, which would be like negligent at best and then intentional at worst to try to like use the tools that she has to work against you. I think people trying to understand you though ultimately is like not a bad thing. So for me, I don't think this is like a deal breaker situation or that you're wrong for not wanting to spend time with them, but you just got to speak up for yourself. And what I realized about working with like partners' families, the way that you begin to show up for them and around them in the beginning will dictate how they will continue to treat you. If you allow one thing towards the beginning, what you allow will continue. So that happens with strangers. It happens in work. It happens if you start showing up at 8 a.m. and you leave at 8 p.m., they're going to expect that from you, right, in the workplace. Same thing with partners. If you show up in a way where you're always divulging personal information about yourself and you're not challenging any of the questions that are being asked of you or gently pushing back or keeping some things private, they're going to dig and dig and dig, and foot in the door phenomenon continue to like, which is again, a kind of strategy. They're going to foot in the door and ask more and more and more of you. So again, I think what you allow will continue. It is totally respectful and totally valid of you to not want to share all of your personal like thoughts, feelings, histories, or behaviors with your boyfriend's parents, because ultimately they are your boyfriend's parents. They're not you. They don't need to be in your business like that. Huh? Enjoy a little privacy. Nice. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Dating Unsettled. Be sure to like, subscribe, get through all the good stuff, go back, watch a couple other episodes, and share with a friend. Please tell someone about the show, about this little podcast that comes from my heart. Aw. And if you have crazy families or no family at all, if you want me to join your family for the low fee of $19.99 a month, I would join your family for $19.99 a month. I would. Y'all got good dinners? Okay, see ya.